was 1980, and man, it was the first day of school, and do I have a story to tell you. Let's take a walk over to the actual school. I'm going to take you to first grade. So in 1980, it was first grade, first day of school. I had Mrs. Hayslett. She was my teacher. Did not want to be here. Really upset having to come to the first day of school. Spent a lot of time crying in class. First maybe 10-15 minutes of class. So Mrs. Hayslett made me come out of room 203 and stand on this wall and gain my composure. I remember standing here, upset, crying, and I thought to myself, I'm going home. I just live not far from here. So let's go home. Now there was nobody out here because obviously school was in session and it was early in the morning, so there was no recesses or lunches yet. So I was able to kind of walk through here quietly and no one could see me. It's amazing how not a lot of this has changed from the 1980s. So it brings back a lot of memories. I haven't been down here for a while, so it's kind of cool to see it. So this is where I grew up. Obviously from the day I was born until Carla and I moved out and got our apartment together. It was here that I ran into the house. My mom said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm never going back. I hate that place. I hate school." My brother was standing there and I was pretty upset, obviously. And my brother, as witty as he is, he said, "Hey, if you go back, maybe mom will take you to the store and buy you a toy." And I remember sitting there thinking for a minute, that's not a bad idea. And I said, "All right, I'll go back, but I expect you to take me down to the local toy store and get a toy." And she said, "That's fine. We'll get you a toy when you go back to school, when you get home." I journeyed out of the house and went back to school. So let's go do that. Now at this point, I'm probably wiping away my tears. Pretty pumped up. Got a whole toy store to pick from. Boy, what am I going to get? I'm starting to think, like, there's a couple toys in mind that I would really like to have. At this point, it's 1980, so Star Wars toys. There'd be racks full of pegs, just filled full of toys and action figures. At this point, I've got quite a few of them, so now I'm just adding to the collection. Once again, this has been a moment where I gotta kind of sneak through here, make sure there's no teachers out here wondering why I'm running around. At this point, the only option was to stand back on this wall and hope that no one knew that I even left. So I stood back here, and I'm not kidding you, it was probably maybe 5 minutes later. Mrs. Hayslip opens this door, and she says, "How you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing pretty good." And she said, "Well, come on back into class." So sure enough, I went back in and finished out that day of school. Finally got home from school, thought about all day while I was there, what was the toy that I was gonna get. Wanted to make sure my mom was gonna come through on her promise, and she did. And we got in the car and we headed down to the store. Okay, so this was our local pharmacy back in the day. It's actually called High School Pharmacy. I would have gone back to school in September of 1980. So Empire Strikes Back came out May 21st, 1980. So I remember in here the Matchbox cars behind the counter and behind the register. I remember back then they had all the Star Wars action figures locked up in glass cases. Let's head back to the cave and I'm going to show you exactly the big decision that was made. So it's September of 1980. In that toy shop, we could have had Battlestar Galactica,
Clash of the Titans, one of my favorites. We got Buck Rogers, watch that all the time. Obviously Star Wars, we talked about that. Black Hole, Disney just had released Black Hole. Huge Western fan, even as a kid. My grandma loved Westerns, watched them a lot. So this line here, the Butch and Sundance line and the Lone Ranger line would have been out. And my brother and I were huge $6 Million Man fans. So there was a lot of choices in this store, but I had to pick one. Not too sure what my budget was. Some of these things may have been out of my budget, but certainly the action figures were all in play. So let's take a look at what I chose. Yes, the Remco Mickey Mouse picnic set. So this toy line was released by Remco in 1977. It was more of a rack toy type of a toy line. Not too sure why I was obsessed with the Mickey Mouse picnic playset, but Carla had gone back and purchased all these. She's heard this story numerous times. The kids love this story. And a couple Christmases ago, Carla went and found me the Mickey Mouse picnic set. And then obviously we filled in on a couple other pieces. And I believe there's a couple more that we don't have. Kind of special to get this back again. It really meant a lot to me. Looking back on it, I'm not too sure what I was thinking. But overall, for the price point, there's a lot of accessories here and a lot of playability with these figures. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at these.
So let's take a look at Minnie Mouse's Garden Swing. Looks like 5 points of articulation to the action figure. There's a lot of accessories in here to make up this garden swing. Pretty detailed too. Donald Duck's fishing game and tackle box. I love the sculpt on Donald here. Looks like he's got himself a little pair of binoculars, some fish to catch. Good old-fashioned tackle box. Very cool. And here it is, the Mickey Mouse Picnic playset. One of the weirdest choices I've ever made as a kid, but you know what? One of the most memorable. I gotta assume that Donald Duck was not available for me to pick because that seemed like a better choice. Just looking at this, the detail, I love the actual card art on this. It's really good. All three of them obviously have the same card art, but very cool. Let's take a look at the back. You know, here's one thing. This card is something I'm looking for. Here's the one that we don't have, which was the Mickey Mouse and his toolbox set.
Hey, thanks for going down memory lane with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We've got a lot of stuff to go over, a lot of toys to review, and I don't want you to miss out on any of that. And I've got a lot of stories and a lot of things I'd love to share. So we'll see you next time. Thank you.